Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on the video. We are losing daylight fast nowadays, so I'm going to do one of the easiest shelters there is, a debris shelter. Let's get to it. As you can see, there's very little to no strategy with this. You basically want to cover some surface area, and then now for the debris part, throw whatever you can find. In my case, there are leaves everywhere here, so that's what we're doing. Now for my sleeping setup. Here's my old climate pad. This is actually a summer pad, so you might see this less and less, or you might see it supplemented with a foam pad. For tonight, it should be good with just this. We are going down to about right above the freezing point, so maybe 1 or 2 degrees Celsius, maybe around 35 Fahrenheit. So I'm using this Grand Trunk sleeping bag. It will be a bit cold in that, so I'm going to supplement it with a basic liner. For those who don't know, sleeping bag liner usually adds maybe, depending on the liner, that's a very basic one, might add 2-3 degrees. You can get better ones, but this should be good for tonight. After all that, I think I've earned myself a beer. I also packed my lunch into here today. We'll get to that in a bit though. So today, put this away. And the beer for today, it's another beer from Flying Monkeys. I've talked about them before, and I never realized it, but they're probably one of my favorite breweries. I've never had a bad beer from them. All their beers seem ridiculous. The can art is crazy, and I usually just pick up the can because, like, the graphics on it. This one today is a whipped frosting double IPA. There you go. It's called Frosty the Friendship Dragon. And it is a double IPA. For those who don't know what double IPA is, it's basically an IPA, Indian Pale Ale, but double means it's basically hoppier, bolder in taste, and typically higher in alcohol as well. So this one is an 8.3. There's also triple IPA and quadruple IPAs, which go up to about maybe 10-12% now. I think they have one that's around 13%. It's basically a wine at that point. So, cheers, guys. Really recommend this brewery. I've never been to them, but like I've said, I've never had a bad beer. Not only have I not had a bad beer from them, but all their beers have been actually really, really good. So, again, this is a whipped frosting double IPA. having a hard time putting my finger on what the flavor is. It is really good. Don't get me wrong. It's really bold. It's really flavorful. It's great. I just can't put my finger on what it tastes like. It is good though. You may have noticed I'm not doing a fire tonight, and there's one main reason for that. There's leaves all around me. They are wet because it rained yesterday, but within an hour of having a fire, that's going to dry out, and we're going to have a little fire hazard on our hands. So, no fire today. We are expecting snow, I think, next week, so stay tuned for that. Once there's about a foot of snow on the ground, I'm comfortable doing fires, so we'll get to it then. But for tonight, I figured it wasn't really necessary. I'm not exactly cold. It's maybe 2 degrees Celsius right now. And, yep, on to dinner. Pretty neat that Tokes actually designed their pots and pans to be used as a double boiler like that. So first time trying it like that. I never had a reason to try it like that, but pretty cool that it works. Now I may have miscalculated the portion. This is more of a snack than a meal, but it's warm and it looks alright, so cheers everyone. Just trying to put my finger on what it tastes like. Definitely taste the lemon. It's not overpowering, but definitely tastes it's there. Yeah, Flying Monkeys. If you guys are ever in Barrie, Ontario, go check them out. Like I said, not only is their can art super cool, but I've never been disappointed with one of their beers. Cheers, everyone. One little safety tip I like to point out. You guys have seen me camp below freezing, and as long as you know what you're doing and you're prepared gear-wise, you should be fine. I would actually argue that now is the most dangerous time of the year. Reason being is it's warm in the day, it rains a lot, so it's a mix of feeling warm and maybe getting a bit wet, and my surroundings are all wet around me. And then in the middle of the night, it actually dips. I'm around 2 Celsius right now. Maybe you can see my breath. I don't know if you can see that, but it's around 2 Celsius right now, and in the middle of the night it's supposed to dip down right below, so maybe -1, -2. Not that cold, but cold enough that if you're wet, it's an issue. So be careful this time of year. It's the perfect mix for hypothermia, and yeah, be careful. Alright guys, it's about time to crawl into my sleeping bag. During the fire bans this year, I really learned that I had to find something to do. Usually when I go camping, I set up my shelter and I just cook and eat some food, and then I look at the campfire until I go to bed. This year in Canada, there's a lot of wildfires going on, so there was a big fire ban, and I basically had nothing to do. So I had a friend who gifted me something, not the dry bag. The dry bag I'll explain in a minute. They gifted me a book about beer, so I haven't started yet. I'm going to start it tonight. Got my little headlamp, so I'm going to crawl into my sleeping bag and take a look at this. I'm not a big reader, but I'll give it a shot. The dry bag, when I was a kid, I used to collect trading cards, and I had a few at the time. I just started, and I had maybe like 30 cards, and I brought them camping one day. I left them in the tent, in the corner of the tent, and that night there was a bit of moisture buildup. I woke up and they're all soaked and like crinkly and stuff, so I'm not making that a mistake again. If I bring a book, it's going to go in a dry bag. And yeah, I'm going to read this a bit, and I will see you guys in the morning. do want to point out that 8 to 9 months out of the year, I would not use a shelter like this. Just based on the fact that in my area there's ticks. I would be covered in ticks right now. We're right at the freezing point, so they're normally not active. I'm still going to check myself when I get home, but summer I wouldn't be doing this. And I have to say, it is much more enjoyable when there's snow out. No morning coffee today. I'm packed up and I'm going to head out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.